Good morning, everybody. We hope you're having a great Sunday morning. We're here to you live streaming on Facebook. Um, and so we're going to have a great day today, aren't we? Yeah. You're laughing. What's going on in your head? Anything funny? No? Okay. So we are, right smack dab in the middle of Memorial Day weekend. It is the opening of summer, and it was really cold earlier this week, and it seemed like the rain never wanted to leave.
Correct.
Maybe because there was like a hurricane or something out east. I've never heard of a hurricane coming before Memorial Day.
I have no idea.
It's
I don't pay attention.
2020 is crazy.
It's a weird year.
I tell you what.
Weird year.
Yeah. So go ahead and invite your friends. Click the invite. Click the thing. Feel free to comment. And we're gonna have a good day today. We finished up last week our series on the Family Code of Honor. And if you don't have that, you can look on Facebook there at Acres Chapel, and you can print that off for yourself. And we had a really good time. Those were kind of like, hey, these are things I'm going to do. And it's just really a guideline for your family on how to have a,
healthy family,
organized chaos, that type of thing. So today, Becky and I were just kind of, we were looking and seeing what we could do. And so we wanted to talk just, husbands and wives, or even for those of you that are single, you can apply these to, some of these things to your life with friendships and any relationships.
Don't check out just because you don't happen to be married at the moment.
We kind of wanted to stay on the family theme, and we want to talk about three things. Sorry,
It's four.
4 things. We want to talk about 17 things.
We're going to talk about something.
Yeah, we'll talk about something, and we'll maybe put numbers on them. And so we're going to do that today, and they're just quick little blurbs that will help marriages. It'll help, if you're not married, it'll help your relationships with a significant other or any type of friendship relationship you have. And so there are some things that we've learned. This past Friday, we survived 21 years of marriage. But let me say it in a different thing.
Yeah, it's a good idea.
We celebrated
There you go.
21 years of marriage.
21 years. Yep.
You've been married to this for 21 years.
It's true. We are beat the odds.
That's right. So we were looking at a couple statistics. And statistics that these were from 2018. So they may be up or down a little bit. But 42% of first marriages end in divorce. I did the quick math real fast. That's almost half. Come on, that's pretty good. 42%
I'm thinking before I speak.
of first marriages. Now you're looking at rule number 4, isn't it, or 5 or something? I don't know.
We don't have rules.
42% of first marriages end in divorce. What is what's crazy is that 60% of second marriages end in divorce. So that's like 102% of the people that get married twice. I mean, it's crazy. You can't add them up. That's not a good statistic. But then those people that get married 3 times, 73%, or almost 3/4 of those marriages end in divorce. Doing the quick numbers, that's 1 divorce every 36 seconds.
That's a lot.
Yeah. So in my head, I'm counting. There's 1 divorce now. I mean, seriously, that's crazy. It's crazy. In the United States, that's the statistics, but there's probably 2,400 divorces per day, or 16,800 divorces per week.
Wow.
And over 750,000 divorces in a year, just in America.
Just in the United States.
And that's crazy. The average length of the first marriage ends in 8 years. So of those 42%. That the first marriages end, it's 8 years in. And so that's 3, well, not 3 times, but 2.5 times. I mean, man, 21 years, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah.
So the average age for couples going through divorce is 30 years old.
Well, we beat that.
Yeah.
Because
we're
not 30 anymore.
So, but, and a crazy thing is, on average, a person spends, 2 years thinking about divorce before taking action. And 3 out of 4 of those divorced people will remarry. But let's go back to that other one for a second. That they'll wait for 2 years They spend 2 years before taking action.
Mhm.
Now, I'm wondering if that means they take 2 years to go to an attorney, 2 years to have a court date, 2 years before saying something to their spouse.
Before taking action, I would say it's 2 years before they file. And
Wow. I hope So it's not in our notes, but I would say communication is huge.
yes.
And so think about communication and how it weaves into these 4 things we're going to talk about. So,
Well, and actually, I was thinking about this earlier today. Actually, the number one thing that is so vital to every marriage and every relationship is your relationship with God.
that's right.
If your relationship with God sucks, all your other relationships are going to struggle.
Yes.
You need to put God first, and then everything else falls into place. So focus on your relationship with God, because remember that relationship with Him that is vertical affects these horizontal relationships. So when you are focusing on spending time with God and getting to know Him and allowing Him to talk to you and growing this, you'll never regret the time you spend reading your Bible, the time you listen to sermons. You will never regret it. It will help all the relationships that are this way.
If maybe you're feeling like discontentment, or you're feeling unfulfilled, or you're feeling that there's something missing, check your relationship with God first.
Yeah.
Check that, because that could be the part of us that is designed to have a relationship with God. We might be filling that void, or that part of us, with other things, and it's just not fitting.
Right.
It's like when you ever there's a cookie jar, and you're expecting a chocolate chip cookie, and you just stick your hand in there, and it's oatmeal raisin.
It's oatmeal raisin, and you think it's chocolate chip.
Yeah, it's like you're a little disappointed. That's kind of how it is when. Well, I mean, oatmeal raisin's a good cookie.
It's a good cookie, but when you're expecting a chocolate chip.
Yeah, so when I'm expecting what I'm doing to fulfill me, and it's not.
It's not, yeah.
We have to have that relationship with God first. And we trust God. And so because I trust God, it helps me build trust with my spouse. So that's the first thing, if you're taking notes. Number 1 is trust. And, what is trust? Trust is just putting your faith in, or putting, your well-being in another person, type thing. I put my trust in you. I trust you. Can trust be broken?
Sure.
Yeah. Can trust be mended?
Yes. It can take a long time.
Yep.
Once trust is broken, it can take a long time to regain it. Brian has never, ever made me think he would ever be unfaithful. He actually goes to not almost the extreme, but there are times where he won't text a female. Hey, can you talk to so-and-so? Why can't, in my head, I'm like, why can't you do it? You're the one that has a question, or you're the one that has to say something. And he's like, well, it's a female. I don't want to talk. I don't want to have this text conversation with them. And I'm like, Brian, I trust you. We have full access to each other's phones, to each other's emails,
Mm-hmm.
to our social media account. I will say this does make it hard sometimes to buy presents, because I can't buy something on eBay for him because it's his eBay account and he sees it.
It's our eBay account. It's joint, but
but you're the one that handles it.
Yeah.
So there's nothing that we are hiding from each other. There's nothing in our lives that's off limits. And if you're hiding something from your spouse, you really need to stop and look of why you're doing it. And is this something that you need to address?
There was one time, well, maybe a couple times, but it's the same scenario where like your phone was going off. Ba-ding, ba-ding, ba-ding. And I'm like, who in the world is texting you?
You do that every time my phone goes off.
But it was like at 10 o'clock at night. And I'm like,
you do that every time my phone goes off.
That's true. Who's texting you? Who is that? No, I don't. It doesn't matter who it is. I just like to have fun with it. But marriage is each spouse giving 100%.
It's not 50-50. If I only give 50% of my everything to my marriage, I'm going to be a statistic, and I'm going to be one of the divorce rates.
Yeah.
It is giving your all to your marriage.
Yeah, and it's trusting her 100%. And so.
And I know there's a lot of marriages that you don't have that trust, that you're like, you don't understand what I'm dealing with. I get that.
Yeah.
And that's something that needs to be addressed. I am 100% behind getting counseling. If you are struggling, if your marriage is struggling, it is okay to say, we need help.
Yeah.
We need help. You know, we've had people talk to Brian and I. We've sat down and talked to people that were struggling in their marriages. But there are times where you're going to need a professional who went to school for that, and it's okay to go, I need help. I need someone that knows more than me because we need to fix this. Because a lot of times there's some healing that has to happen, that you have to have in order to be able to have that trust, to have that successful marriage.
So it's okay, if you want to talk to us or you want to talk to somebody, any relationship is repairable. It's,
Yes.
are you willing to do the work?
Yes, and we have
And
seen
make an investment. into
marriages that it was like, this marriage is not going to survive.
You almost wanted to like write their name in the statistic, like, well, there you go.
Yeah, and it's like, oh my gosh, what in the world? And to see what they walked through, trust was completely broke. And to see them, and now they're through it several years. But you talk to them, they're like, we're more in love now than we ever were.
Yeah, they're totally thriving.
Yes.
It's crazy.
But they had professional counseling.
And they had God.
And they had God, yes. And they had really great people that came around them and helped them. So you can succeed. It is never too late, and it is never it is hard sometimes. Sometimes it is so hard, but it is worth it.
That's right. Second thing is unity. You have to be unified.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot of things we could cover on this, unified in the way that the house is run, the way you raise kids, that type of thing. But we just want to kind of touch base on a little bit. But it's not all about you. I found that out real early in our marriage. But you got to understand, and I'm not making excuses, but I'm the only child. I am the only one.
And the only grandchild.
And I have no cousins. On my side of the family, I have no nieces or nephews, nothing. So it's just me. But on Becky's side of the family, she's the youngest of 4. And so when we get together with my side of the family, it's the 4 of us plus 2. When we get together with Becky's side of the family, we're 4 of 21 or 22 or whatever it is.
I don't know. I lost count.
And so, I learned early on that it's not about me, that we have to be unified.
Right.
And so it doesn't mean you have to have a joint Facebook account. It means you're just on the same page. We don't have a joint Facebook account, but we know people who do. And that's cool. It's
and that works for them.
Works.
That would not work for us.
Yeah,
all.
I don't want to see the things she's interested in.
And I don't want to see stuff you're interested in. I don't want to be
awesome stuff that I'm interested in.
Okay.
Yes. It doesn't mean you have to have the same goals.
Right.
But it does mean you support each other in their pursuit of those goals.
Now, Brian, several years ago, had a desire to lose weight, and he lost 50 pounds.
Something like that.
And like just a few.
Lose it again.
Well, it was just, you're not even close to what you had been, how heavy you were. He lost, I was like in 6 months, I want to say, when he went from wearing his heavyweight clothes to actually getting clothes that fit him. People thought he was like sick because he had lost so much weight. And I probably was one of his biggest cheerleaders. He would work out after I went to bed because I went to bed really early. He did P90X.
Yeah.
And I remember him yelling at, what's the guy's name, Tony?
I don't care. I
don't know. He'd yell at him every night. And it was like, what do you mean? My fat body doesn't move like that.
Yeah, I can't do what you do.
I'd be in bed just rolling. But I was his biggest cheerleader.
Right.
And, it just told him all the time. I was so proud of him. And I still think you're doing a fantastic job keeping the weight off.
Well, I need to lose more. Thanks
but
for
you
being my
still
chair.
look really good.
Thank you. Live within each other's personalities and capabilities. I learned this very young in our marriage, very early. I'm a very social person, if you don't know that.
Yeah.
My wife.
I am not.
My wife
I'm good
not.
at staying home and reading.
And but when we were dating and stuff like that, we all hung out as a group and stuff.
We hung out in big groups. Yeah.
So when we got married, we moved back to Ohio, and I had a lot of friends there, and the guys would go out.
Okay, Brian grew up there, so he
Yeah.
knew a lot of the people.
Yeah.
I knew nobody.
So I figured the guys are going out, then all the ladies are going to go out. So I just signed Becky up for that. I was like, the guys are going out. Hey, Becky will come with you. And
I didn't know these people.
Yeah, who? Right?
They're great people. Now they're fantastic people. I know them now, and they were great people. They still are great people. I didn't know them.
Well, that's fine.
It's horrifying to me as an introvert who's not good with small talk with anybody.
Yeah.
To say, hey, you're going to go hang out with this group of people. I was like, what is wrong
Hey, Becky,
with you?
welcome to your new friends.
He set me up on friend dates more than once. And the last one, I came home and said, you will never do that to me again.
And so, lesson learned on that.
I brought, if you know me, I'm a big reader. So I brought some of my books with me. This is the one we talked about last week. And it's The 5 Love Languages by Gary Chapman. If you have not got this book, I recommend you get it. You can get it on eBay pretty cheap. Get it used. I always look at thrift stores in their books sections because you can pick these up really cheap. It's an older copy. They have it. There's a marriage one. There's a teenage one. Really good. And this will help you so much in your marriages. Actually, this will help you in just about any relationship to learn to work within other people's personalities, with other people's capabilities, in order to communicate in the way you need to.
Yeah. You know, we talked last week we mentioned Ecclesiastes 4:12, and that's kind of what I was like, man, we need to really focus in on that where it talks about how one man can have the power one man is able to have power over him who's alone, but two can stand against him. And it's not easy to break a rope made up of 3 strings. And that's kind of paraphrasing that a little bit. And we said that the 3 strings is me, Becky, my spouse, or you and your spouse, and God woven together like braids. Like you would braid hair or braid, a friendship bracelet. I think of it as a friendship bracelet between you and God. And it's very hard to rip or very hard to tear. And I could karate chop it, but most people can't. But I can. But it's very hard to do that. And so when you're united with each other and with God, that's that vertical relationship with God.
Right.
It's woven into you. You become a team that's very hard to separate. And I think that's why a lot of people go through struggles, even if they're self-inflicted struggles, they can still get through it because God is in the restoration business and He's ready to help. And so, we have trust, we have unity, financial, and that was a huge one for us.
That was, and actually what started us on our financial journey
was my little audiobook right here.
It was. We were on our way to Ohio, and I bought this book. Did I buy this from the Dave Ramsey store?
I don't know.
Or I got it at a thrift store. I don't remember. I buy books so often, I don't remember where I get them. Anyway, Dave Ramsey, Total Money Makeover, started reading it on our way to Ohio.
Out loud. I
read it out loud, yes. She was driving.
She was reading it out loud.
Got about halfway through it.
Yeah.
And
it changed our life.
It did. And then I finished reading it on the way home. And that's when it was, this is possible.
Yeah.
Financial, it encapsulates both trust and unity.
Yeah. So, a little bit of our story, and not to go into too much detail.
You guys probably all heard it, but we love our
story. If you want to go to it, we were basically running paycheck to paycheck, and to make the bills meet some weeks, I had to work overtime.
Right.
And so,
we weren't even making it to the paycheck.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy.
It was pretty bad.
But when we started getting on the same page financially,
we had unity.
See, Becky would do the bills, and she came in and go, I can't pay them all.
I need help. Will you help? I'd asked for years. We've been married for 17 years, and every month I'd be like, I need your help. I can't pay these. And I'd be like, help me. What bills do I pay? And he would just go, pay them all. And I'm like, I can't pay them all.
And so
it was a struggle.
I think one time I worked overtime. I think I worked 60 hours that week.
You worked a lot.
And I couldn't buy a combo meal at Burger King or McDonald's. And it was just like, okay, enough's enough. And so that was right at the time she read that book, and it just opened my eyes. And so
I'd been waiting for years for him to get on board.
They I think they're on sale on their quarantine website.
Yeah,
or
I think they are, and they do $5 deals every once in a while. Keep an eye on it. It will revolutionize.
Here's what's crazy, and we really want. If there's one thing that you take home today, it's that we've estimated this low, but 60% of our fights went away when we got on the same page.
So Brian said, when I
Financially.
asked him, I said, well, how many fights do you think we had over finances? He said, oh, probably 50. I said, I was thinking like 70, so let's just meet in the middle at 60.
So she opens her book and recounts every single one
My
of
journal, all of
them.
them.
Yeah, no. So we have joint savings account, and I encourage you to your joint bank account.
Yeah.
I encourage you to do that. The same thing.
We don't hide money from each other.
Because joint
I will
accountability.
say this: when he started helping with the bills, because we sit down every Thursday typically and pay the bills. We sit down and figure out what the budget is for that next week, and pay the bills. We do it together. I could no longer buy stuff online like I had been because he would never know because he never knew how much money we had.
So then I started getting cash for my gas, but I wouldn't use it all, and I would, buy Mountain Dew with the rest.
Well, that wasn't a big deal.
So we embezzled a little bit on each other, but we started talking about money openly.
Yes, and when we started doing it together, the fights drastically decreased simply because we were communicating, and it was no more, well, where'd all the money go? I don't know, figure it out.
Yeah.
And we had a game plan for getting out of debt. We were in debt, and it sucks. But we had a game plan to get out of debt. We are now, we only owe our house. We're out of debt. We're putting money in savings. It has so much stress has been taking off of us. When we first started, and we first started budgeting, if you're around us very long, we're going to tell you to budget.
Yeah.
And we got a pay raise. We didn't technically.
When you
but
make
once
a budget,
you start
you give yourself a
budgeting,
raise,
and it's like, wow, we're not making any more money than we were, but we were able to start paying down debt. It was awesome.
We created financial goals together, and that was part of the whole budget thing. Is okay, what do we want to do? Where do we want to be? We made a budget and we tracked our spending.
Yep.
We lived on less than we earned.
That's the key.
Yep.
And just because you want it doesn't mean you need to go get it.
And if something we wanted to save up for something, then I found something of hers in the basement and sold it, or I found something of mine in the basement.
We did sell a lot of stuff.
So, we made getting out of debt a priority because, listen, this is why. Is I was listening after Becky read the book, and I listened to the Dave Ramsey show. There was a kid, he was like 19 years old, and his money was being a blessing to him. Ours was, because of what we did, it wasn't.
We were stupid.
We were paying interest, which is basically paying a penalty.
Yeah.
This young man was gaining interest, which was like a bonus, a reward. And so we wanted to get into that area where we were getting rewarded.
Right.
And so we made that a priority. I'll tell you right now, you'll never regret that decision.
And you can do it.
Yeah. And there's the best time to start. 10 years ago and
or
right now.
Don't put it off.
Don't put it off.
And when we started on this journey, we had a few people that were really big cheerleaders for us.
Yeah.
And if you want to share with us, if you're going to go on and get out of debt and start budgeting, Brian and I will cheer you on. We will be in your corner. We'll give you tips. I was shocked at how many people told us we couldn't do it. Well, you can never live without a credit card. Well, you can never do it without ever borrowing money. Okay, but we don't have to put our Christmas presents on a credit card.
Yeah.
We save up for them. We know Christmas is coming every year.
Well, and you don't Dave Ramsey's name might be a curse word in your house. You don't have to do that, but make a plan to get out of debt.
Yeah.
And we did his class, Financial Peace, at the church, and we were getting ready to kind of organize it again.
Yep.
Until
and then we got
everything got shut down. And so, we might create a virtual one if there's enough interest or whatever. And so, it's really on our heart. And the last thing today, the fourth thing, is resolving conflict. Like we said, with the being on the same page financially, being in unity and trusting, we dropped our arguments 60%.
Just by doing that one thing of communicating financially.
And so listen, guys, 60% less fighting. I mean, and I win the other 40% of the conflict. So it's a win-win situation, guys. Come on. At least I'm told, or I think I win the other one. We might have a conflict resolution later on today. But Ephesians chapter 4, verse 26, and this is very hard. It says, in your anger, do not sin. So when you're mad, don't sin. And don't let the sun go down while you're still angry.
We've spent some late nights talking.
Every time I hear this scripture, you know what goes on in my head? That Elton John song. Don't let the sun go down on me.
Elton John didn't sing country.
It's not country. It
Well,
just
you
sounded
just sang it country.
I don't know. Anyway, don't let the sun go down while you're angry. I've gone to sleep frustrated, but I've not gone to sleep mad.
We've had some pretty.
Yeah, I did tell you one
mad
time.
fights.
We share a bed. We're husband and wife, and
I can't ever get him to go sleep on the couch.
nope, I'm not sleeping on the couch in my own house. Negative. But I did
Because
tell.
I love to just spread out. Not that I don't want you there. It's just.
I did tell
and then
her.
nobody's touching me.
I did tell her to get on her half of the bed. My half was the mattress, and her half was the box springs, and that didn't work very well either. So, don't stay angry. Talk it over as soon as you can. Now, here's a quick tip for us. She needs time to cool off.
Yes.
When she gets upset, she's like a radiator. You can't pour cold
I
water.
need to process it a little bit.
You just have to let it cool down.
Otherwise, I respond very badly.
Me, I can't handle it. I need to just
Yes.
take care of it right
So
then.
we hadn't been married very long. I think Brooke was, if she was born, she was pretty little. We were in our second apartment. She would have been born because we were in
Yeah.
our second apartment. And he did something that made me really mad. And I went to make dinner, and then I thought about it, and I'm like, well, that was really stupid to get offended over it. He wasn't it was stupid. And I just was like, okay, I'm going on. And he was like, well, what are you all mad about? I said, I'm not, I'm over it. It went on for hours. We were actually leaving to go to get our taxes done, and it kept going, and it kept going. And I'm like, I don't even remember what you said at this point. This is hours later. I don't remember what you said at this point. Should not have taken offense to it. I was in the wrong. I adjusted my attitude. I fixed it. You need to back off. And it got to the point where I finally said, if you don't shut up about it, we will have a knockdown, drag out fight because you're not taking me at my word. And when I say I'm fine, you're freaking out.
I'm going to be honest with you. I don't remember that.
I remember that one very clearly.
But I have a hard time processing it if that's your face. I say, hey, you okay? I'm fine.
I get really quiet when
I'm fine.
mad.
It's kind of like, I'm fine. It's like, I can't, you say you're fine, but you don't look fine. But, we found ways to communicate and to work through resolving conflict. But we don't let the sun go down if we're mad.
That is hard. Sometimes I just don't want to be around you when I'm mad.
Yeah.
But
what do you mean you don't want to be around me?
When I'm mad at you.
Oh, okay.
But when we fixed our money issues, it really, honestly, I'm telling you guys, it fixed at least 60% of the fights. We really don't fight like we used to.
No.
We still have times where we get irritated.
We need to. We need to have a good
No,
argument.
I don't like fighting.
Good argument. Okay, never mind.
Why? What's wrong with you?
Okay. If I trust my spouse and I'm in unity, we've said this before, I probably say it too much, but whenever and I try, hey, no offense, there's that cop out.
Yeah.
Well, what's coming is an offensive statement.
But that has taken us years to develop this. There was a lot of maturity that had to happen where it was, I do not ever intend to offend you. Anything I say, I don't ever want to hurt you. Yeah. Now, there are some spouses that, man, you're messed up. And, like I said, you might need some counseling because they do say things to hurt you. That's not okay.
Yeah,
not okay. Don't put up with abuse in a relationship.
That's right.
When we got engaged, I told him, I said, if you ever swing at me, remember what I said? You better knock me out, because if you don't, I'm coming back swinging. You will never hit me. He never has.
Which if you
never thought. I never was ever scared of it.
No.
I did say if you ever had an affair on me, you'd probably be the last thing you ever do.
Yeah. So if you've ever wrestled with Becky or seen her throw a punch, if she said you better knock her out or she come back swinging, you're probably gonna fall over laughing.
I got stuck on my necklace.
Okay. All right. So anyway, she's, that type of thing. You start laughing and being distracted by the craziness. I'm just teasing.
Wow.
Here, listen. You have to listen. Did you hear that? You have to listen, guys. You have to listen.
Sometimes you have to shut up and not fix things. Men are fixers, and it's awesome. But sometimes you need to just shut up.
Hey, I have to shut two things off. I have to shut, what comes out, but I also have to shut off the brain part not the listening, but the part of me that's like working the calculations on how to fix it.
Yes.
And so
I don't know how many times I'd be, struggling with something or complaining about something. And,
you want me to fix it for you? I'll go fix it right now.
Work-related, whatever. And he's like, well, I'm going to go talk to him. No, you're not.
Yep.
I'm going to go talk to them. That's not right what they're doing. I know that's not right what they're doing. But no, you're not going to go talk to them.
I got that look on my face,
Like,
that mug look, and I rolled my sleeves up. Like, I'm going to go talk to that person.
Thankfully, you haven't done that in years.
That was, it's probably 10 years
That was
ago.
a long time ago. But it was like, no, you can't do that. So, I have a couple other books here. So this one is Wild at Heart by John Eldridge.
Yeah.
And this is Discovering the Secret of a Man's Soul. And I read that a couple years ago. And this really helped me to understand Brian as a man and how men are and how men think.
As a man.
As a man. So I know there's books out there for men to read. I'm not a man, so I don't read them. Brian's not a reader.
No, but if you read me the book, that'd be awesome.
I got a book we're going to read next time we're on a trip. And then this is another book. Not that one. Hold that, please.
I still want to get sponsored. It'd be awesome.
This is one. Anytime we do marriage counseling, we make the couples get this book and read it. It is The DNA of Relationships by Dr. Gary Smalley. This is one of the wisest men that I have ever read.
That's right. When
it comes to anything relationship, you can tell it's got a lot of bookmarks in it, because it is a fantastic book. This is not just a marriage book. I think he has one on marriages. This will help you in any relationship. This will help you with work relationships. This will help you with family relationships. This will help you with friends. This is one of those books I recommend highly, 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 but it helps you to understand how relationships work.
Yeah. How people...
And he does talk about how you resolve issues, how to fix issues. It's an excellent, excellent book.
So, it's okay to say, hey, I was wrong.
That's hard.
It is hard.
That was really hard for me to admit that I was wrong.
I was wrong.
Or that I didn't know something.
It was probably pretty easy, because when I was young and dumb, I probably would have pointed it out. Hey, you were wrong here. This is what you said. You meant to say this, but this is what you said. But anyway, admit that you could be wrong. And then this really thing right here is change your behavior. We've said it before.
Yes.
When we changed our behavior, the fights dropped 60%. And this will fix a lot of arguments. But if your behavior is hurting your spouse, then you need to change it.
And simple things like, okay, don't clip your toenails sitting in bed. That's nasty. If I hated that and that's what you did all the time, okay, change that behavior. It's little things like that you can change. It's not a big deal. Change it.
Yeah.
Pick up your underwear off the floor.
That made me look to see if my nails were long. Like someone says something about lice or whatever, you're just kind
of... You have to itch. Oh, I itch so bad.
If you didn't like that, I would kind of like snip them to try and when they flip off.
Yeah, you don't. That's not something you do, because that would be one thing of get out of here. That's nasty.
But the last thing really is apologize and ask for forgiveness.
Which just goes, it can be very hard.
And if you're the one doing the apologizing, be sincere. And if you're the one being apologized to, be sincere.
And here's the thing.
Well, hold on a second.
Sorry.
Just like we talked about a second ago, like, I'm fine. Well, are you really? Are you really? I couldn't accept the apology, or I couldn't.
You can accept my statement.
Yeah. And so, if I say something, sorry, you say, I forgive you. Okay, now it's...
You don't say forgive you. I'm like, all right.
Yeah, it's true. It's the truth, so we just move on. We check that box and we go.
But a big part of apologizing is changing the behavior. Yeah. If you just apologize and never change your behavior, you're a liar.
Yeah,
and that's not acceptable.
And when someone apologizes, and this is a great way to wrap it up here, is if I did something to offend Becky and I apologized and she forgives me, then she needs to forget it.
Or just not keep bringing it back up.
Remember
when you did.
Yeah. Remember when we were married for the first year we were married and you left the toilet seat up in the middle of the night, I got up to go to the bathroom and I fell in?
That's something I think you've only done once.
Yeah, I'm talking about me. That didn't happen to her. That happened to me.
I don't...
And so, remember that time you did that? Well, seriously, don't bring it up because
Yeah.
check this out. God doesn't bring up.
God forgets it.
He
Now we
forgets
are
it.
capable most of the time of forgetting it.
And there's some things we need
But-
to keep in the back, like not hold it against them, but like, don't touch the stove again. It's gonna hurt
Well,
me.
right.
But God forgives us, and He throws it away as far as the east is from the west. And so, if I'm going east and and Becky's going west, we never, if we go straight, we're not going to touch. And so,
One thing I just thought of too is become aware of your triggers. Everybody has triggers that sets them off. Start being aware of what sets you off. I know for me, when I'm not spending enough time reading my Bible, I start getting kind of short-tempered pretty quick.
yeah, and that's when I hand deliver it to her. I go, you need this.
You do not.
No, but that would be rude.
If you are a high-stress job and you come home and you're biting your family's head off, you're biting your spouse's head off, you need to, between that time you leave your work and the time you get home, you need to do some adjusting in your attitude.
Yeah.
Start recognizing your triggers. And as a spouse, recognize the things that you do that set your spouse off. Something that you do that your spouse hates, you need to fix it.
Yeah, so
it's not okay to continually to do that when they hate it.
We'll close with this story, but there was a person who they went home from work with them, the coworker, and when the guy got home, he went over and he touched the tree, and then he went to the house. And the person asked him, "Well, what'd you do that for?" He goes, "That's where I hung everything from today at work."
Oh, yeah.
And I walked into the house, and so I started doing that years and years ago. I started doing that, and whatever happens at work, it's not going to affect. It's not going to affect me at home, and if it does, then I usually I'll explain it to Becky. Well, how'd your day go? Well, do you really want to know how my day went? And yeah, that's why I asked. And so, and then it's like, okay. So then if she sees me getting kind of frustrated at home, she knows why, because it's still there, and I have to take it off.
And here's the thing too, that we have open communication, and when he starts getting frustrated, and he'll go like a series of being frustrated for quite a while, and it'll be like all right, whatever's going on, you need to fix it because this is not okay.
Yeah.
And it's the wake up call that he needs of how he's behaving, how his attitude is not okay. You need to fix it, and then it gets fixed pretty quick.
Well, it's not necessarily anything bad. It's just the wrong.
It's just your attitude's smelly.
Yeah.
Stinky attitude.
So that's what it is. It's thanks. Trust, being unified, financial,
Yep.
and then resolving conflict. And so hopefully those 4 things helped you out today. I do want to say that if you don't have a relationship with God, make that the first
Make
thing.
that number one.
Make that a priority.
Yeah.
Make that number 1. And so,
because it helps every area of your life. It really does. It's being a Christian doesn't mean that life is easy, because it's not. Sometimes life just sucks, but it helps.
It does.
Because you have someone there that is with you everywhere you go. He never leaves you. He never forsakes you. He is constantly with you.
Yeah.
He never lets go of you.
And He knows the answers to all the problems that you have.
That's right.
So if that's you today, just simply say, God, come into my life, be my Lord, and be my Savior. Forgive me of all the stuff that I've done. And then, most importantly, after you do that, that's important, but then make a conscious effort to change what you're doing.
Yes.
And so I like saying it this way. It's like, I want to do what God likes, what God loves, and I don't want to do what God doesn't like.
Yeah, that's good.
And so, man, it was a pleasure speaking to you guys today. If you're a normal church member, send us a Facebook message, send us something. If you're a visitor, if you've never stepped inside the walls of our church, send us a message. We'd love to hear from everybody, and that's so awesome. We can't wait to meet in person again.
Yes.
And so we love y'all, and have a great day.
And again, if you want to give your tithes and offerings,
Oh yeah, I forgot about that.
Mail them to the church, P.O. Box 302, Payson, Illinois 62360. So that's first check him
Yep.
and I write.
Yeah.
Is our tithes check. It's a big deal. It's a big deal for us too.
Yep. All right.
That's just it. So
So you guys have a great
All right.
day. Go on a picnic in your own backyard or however it is.
yeah.
And have a great time. Talk to you guys soon. Bye-bye.